Back when Olympus and Panasonic were in kindergarten together, they had a friendly rivalry, and it got out of hand a couple times. Olympus would give Panasonic the glue, saying, "This is edible, you know?" And Panasonic would get sick. Actually, that's what caused their vision loss. That's why they can't really focus on anything today. It hurts, but they're best friends, and they're still at it.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
As one of the only known YouTubers who shoot on Olympus cameras, who isn't paid by them, I gotta tell you, kind of excited. We got a little wow cam on our hands. OM1, is that what it's gonna be called? The Olympus OM1? Or was there a meeting to discuss the name? Alright fellas, I don't mean to alarm you, but I was on a midnight walk and I found a Fuji XT4 in Fuji's dumpster behind their restaurant. I managed to reverse engineer it. Welcome to 2022, huh? We have a camera capable of matching, for the most part, the Fuji XT4. Wow? Anybody? Yeah. Sounds nice. It's just, is the XT4 really what we should be shooting for? They're gonna come out with the XH2 any second. Everybody's doing 4K 120p now. Is this enough from us? We went out of business. Will this bring us back? It could. You don't know that it won't. It's a good camera here. 10-bit. We're doing video now. We care. We're not Canon that's, 8K, look at us. We're not Flash and milk. We bring you the substance, hard work, blue collar shit. Our camera just works for you in the rain, in the snow. You're right, boss, I'm sorry. The specs aren't everything. As long as the camera just looks magical, we got Olympus colors. I believe in this thing. I believe hard. And what should we call it? The OM1? Just keep it simple? All our older names were so complicated. Let's just keep things simple. The OM1. Wow. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just keep it simple. Olympus OM1. Or, hear me out here. I can't actually afford to keep the Olympus name. So how about OM System OM1? It rings off the tongue if you say it like 7 times. It's not gonna say that on the camera, will it? Like OM System? It sounds like you fix computers or something. Just OM, just Olympus. Everybody loves Olympus. It's a mountain. Just keep Olympus OM1. We're done. This conversation's over, right? I wish it was, Jeffney, but the reality that hits us, we could be OM System OM1, or we shorten it to OMDS OM1. What's the D stand for? Dinner, really. It's just OM for Olympus Mountain Digital Solutions, which also works with our Olympus Mountain System. Digital Solutions System, OM1. OMDS Digital Mountain Solutions. It doesn't have to be this hard. Just Olympus. Alright, we got a lot to discuss today. I'll discuss them to you, and then you mull it over in that noggin of yours. And we have some unanswered questions. Like, we have a spec list. That's nice, but then there's always the hidden agenda behind it. And YouTubers, we ain't gonna bring you the information you want. I focus on vlogging, and people are like, oh man, how many frames per second does it shoot for photos? Stop vlogging. I'm sorry to disappoint you. So what we know, we have 4K 60p in a 10-bit 422. Will that be easy to edit? I don't know. Like, the Sony makes it easy. Panasonic was kind of hard. So that's a factor that nobody's gonna let you know. What I'm not sure is why they didn't shoot for 4K 120p. I mean, everybody seems to be doing that now, and it's kind of like the standard, and they're doing it in full frame sensors with so much more information. It's like a sandwich, a triple-decker sandwich that you have to eat really fast, versus like Olympus has crackers with a little sausage in the middle, and it's like one bite. It's so much easier to work with that information. How come the micro four loser sensor doesn't run faster than the full frame? It should be doing 4K 240p. It's a stacked sensor, and it's smaller with less megapixels. Why? Panasonic GH6 is rumored to have the 120p. So the title of this video, clickbaity and bullshit, Panasonic's biggest fear. We suck. YouTubers are the plague on the earth. But I don't know, man. It seems like a pretty dated spec. But we do have 240 frames per second in HD. It's not the 480 frames that I wanted, but let's be reasonable. It's gonna take a couple years for that one to catch up. Fuji XT4 is gonna do it. We all know that. But 240p, I have questions. Is there autofocus in that mode? Is that 10-bit? Unlimited recording in all these modes? 4K 60p, is there a 30-minute time limit? Something like nothing's in the spec sheets. All the things I want to know are wonders now. But I tell you, Canon is not doing 240 frames per second. It's really only Sony and Fuji that have done it. Panasonic tried in the GH5S, but it had so much aliasing. It was just lines everywhere. I was embarrassed to even use it for pigeon footage. I was like, wow, that is weird. That's bad. So now we have it. Take that, Panasonic. They're gonna beat it next week, aren't they? 7 stops of IBIS. I'll admit it, I don't know how many stops are in this one. That might even be worse. I don't know. It sounds really good though. Olympus IBIS, it's up there. It's not the top. I think Panasonic is better. From what I've tested with wide lenses, warpy shit with the 12mm on Olympus where Panasonic didn't. So I was like, oh, okay. But digital stab in the Olympus like overcomes everything. All the flaws in the IBIS disappear. It's a huge crop, 17%. It hurts, but it could be used to your wildlife advantage. But there we come to a conundrum, don't we? Just a little side rant on the stab and the lenses. If you're a wildlife videographer like I am, what lens are you gonna use? You have the Ghetto. Love this lens, but there's no stab in it, so it's a little jerky. If you go up to the 100 to 400, it has stab, but they don't talk. Why? You have the technology in there, just talk to each other. From what I've seen, I would have pounced on that 100 to 400, but everything looks shaky in that footage. It's not good. Like the lens stab is not good, and their IBIS is good, but for telephoto, there's jerky motions. So like you need sync technology like the Fuji has, and it's like so rock steady, almost tripod-like. So if you want that, your option is 300mm Tony 4. It's a prime though. I took it upon myself to use this 75 to 300, just 300mm. See if I could locate the animal, not zooming out. It was hard. It was possible, but there were also many shots where I was like, I wish I could zoom out. I'm too close to, oh man. I don't like primes for wildlife. And then your real only option for the sync is a $10,000 solution. With that 150 to 400, now you're heavier than full frame. Just give me a 100 to 400 Mark II with sync stab. I like that they updated the EVF now that I use it for wildlife. This one's not super sharp. You can tell things are in focus, kind of, but I don't know, man. It's better than the Sony. The Sony a7S III, you think that thing is good? It fogs up. In the north, the tundra, I can't see a damn thing. It just gets all blurry. What the hell? Not a huge fan of the 1.6 million dot screen. That's Fuji XT4 territory. Shoot up for, not that I would use it or deserve it, but I was kind of hoping for something better, but it might suck the battery life. This seems like a very well thought out camera that isn't like over exaggerated on any spec. It's just like solid 4K 60p, no crop. Is it? I don't know. Can we crop? I kind of like the Olympus has a digital teleconverter 2 times. It looks like trash, but it's fun. That's a 1200mm reach. Huh? That's beautiful. Hello, Robin. Hello, details. Wow, that's 1080p slow-mo with a 2 times teleconverter. That's good content right there. So here are some things that I'm wondering, and then we'll discuss whether this is the better option versus the GH6, which I don't even know the full specs of yet, but I'll give you my pre-thoughts. Animal autofocus in video or not? We don't know. We know it has the technology in the camera for photos for sure, but hopefully it's in video, and is it in the slow motion? Do you still split the files up into 2-minute bites? Really annoying, like super bad. I hate that. So hopefully it's just one long file. One. Sony does it. No matter how long you record, it's like, oh, there's your file. This is just like 18 files, and it's like, oh god. Especially if you film 2 videos back to back, and then you gotta find where's the split. Oh yeah, I started there on the 14th file. It's ridiculous. So hopefully that's one file and unlimited recording past 30 minutes. This is gonna run out any second. I have to stop and start. Another clap to sync. Sync stabe. The most important thing, can we save our video specs into the custom modes? Because all my dials are useless. I can switch to photo, aperture priority, and then I'm pretty quickly from video to photo, but I want to save settings like manual focus 4K 60p, autofocus 4K 60p, and that's one switch. Boom. And then the slow-mo 240p. There are 3 custom modes with all my different settings, and then maybe even a studio setting. And hopefully they improved their little filters. They're gimmicks, but I like having some of those, like the vintage look. I kind of like it, but it's all choppy. It looks like it's 10 frames a second. The processor can't handle it. Just handle it. And have they improved the preamps? Because the audio is very hissy in this. Olympus has been known for that, like terrible quality preamps, even though they make like audio recorders and it sounds on paper, oh, 24-bit and all this hertz stuff. I'll hurt your mom. So hopefully that's improved. No hisses. Was I even recording that last bit? It shut off. Thankfully the LCD dimmed and I noticed it. So who knows what happened there. Thanks. So when it comes to the Olympus OM mountain system OM1 versus the Panasonic GH6, my thoughts. I'll make a video when I know the full specs of the Panasonic. Little Panny boy. Pony of hope. But we all know that thing's going to be fantastic with contrast detect autofocus. Improved algorithms this time. And that'll trickle down to the other cameras. You can do this too. You could be like us. You pulse happy freak. But whatever. That's fine. Manual focus. Penny boy. You're back in my heart. You're back in the race. I don't know, man. Panasonic has always sucked to me for filming myself. But wildlife, you might have something there, because I'm manually focusing now. It's a skill. It's fun. Like, you have your Canon R5 and you just point the thing and the thing's following easy. Like, what skill? What joy is there to having that? None. I want to track an owl flying right at my face. I could do it. The only reason I dismissed Panasonic in the wildlife race is because I tried my friend's G9 with the 100-400 and I couldn't believe how shaky it was. And I was like, I don't know, I've seen stable footage out of that same setup. So either his lens is damaged or my brain is, and I don't know how to stable myself. Maybe it was super windy, I don't remember. But I was just like shocked at how shaky it was for dual stabe. But say it was user error. Unlikely, but say it was. Panny boy. Man, GH6, like what if they have 480 frames per second or something close, 320 in 1080p, manually focusing, dual stabe. The user ability with the custom dials, everything's just easy. Panasonic colors might be okay for wildlife, just don't turn it on your pig face. Pig skin pink. Although this looks weird, everything looks orange. It's my fault, I suck at white balancing. How you doing? But in my honest opinion, and it feels weird to say this, I think the Panasonic will be the better camera for wildlife because their 100-400 has dual stabe. Olympus, they don't have that option affordably. You can have a prime or a super gigantor lens. I don't like those odds. So even the 100-300 for Panasonic, if you wanted to be super light on it, also dual stabe. This one, like, I'm limited to only filming slow motion footage on the Olympus. It doesn't look very good in 4K 24p, but real-time wildlife sucks. You see it every day. I want to see slow motion stuff. Like, you ever try to track a red squirrel? I just discovered those things the other day. They're so fast. It's like you can't even see them with the naked eye. So it's fun to slow it down and, oh wow, that's how they float through the sky. Oh, they're beautiful little creatures. But Olympus will be the more well-rounded, like the all-around YouTuber camera. But I will say, I don't like having one camera that I have to share between wildlife and YouTubing, and my settings change and it's a pain in the bitch. So if you have one Olympus for here and then one Olympus for the wildlife, wow. Or you switch it, Olympus for YouTube, Panasonic for wildlife, and you're in the Micro Four Thirds system. It's a marriage, a happy one. They don't have sex, but that's not, they make sandwiches together. They lay in bed and watch TV. That's a fulfilling life. You don't know that it isn't. So what a time to be alive. I mean, it's been a while since we had like a good Micro Four Thirds announcement, because the Olympus EM1 III really was an EM2 1.2. And that, like, when was that released? 2012 or something? Like, it's been a while since we've had a good Olympus release. In Panasonic, really it's the GH5 has been their best camera. The GH5 II like barely did anything. It was a firmware if it was a foot. So now we have something. It's been a while and it's exciting. It's like, I like the tiny sensor format. These giant lenses for telephoto, full frame in here, much nicer, but there's still pleasingness to be had if you go micro loser inside. Let's just hope that Olympus has improved the usability in video. That's what I focus on, because to change things, I got to go into the menu system. Like, just a change from manual to aperture priority is a menu dive. There's no, you can't switch it. Stupid, only for photos. So I'm curious to hear which direction you're leaning. Olympus colors with better autofocus, YouTuber delight, versus Panny Boy usability, ease of use, higher specs, 10 bits. They both have 10 bit. Oh boy. I'm gonna leave after you buy a Panasonic Pony of Hope t-shirt. It'll become in focus if you wash it a couple times, I think. I'm gonna go. Subscribing? How come you didn't?